Hello, everyone. Welcome to Canadian music in the 80s and 90s and more. That makes it Canadian. It is, well, I think when I started this is Derry from the band I was really thinking about when I started doing this, from Honeymoon Suite. Derry, I can't thank you for joining me. It's great to have you. Um,
Well, thank you. Great talking with you too.
there's lots I want to talk about, but I don't want to waste. I want to get to your new record. Your new album. I think it's fantastic. It's got a great sound to it. Your writing has not, your songs have not, it stands up with anything I think you've ever done. Um,
Thank you. I think
yeah.
I agree with you. I'm really happy with it. I think everything it checks all the boxes for me, and it's the best. I think one of the better things we've done in a while. The writing is there, the production is there, and just the performances. It's exciting.
Now, are you guys writing collectively, or is it just like when you're writing new stuff, is it just one guy or a couple of guys, or are you guys writing as
No,
a unit?
no. This album was the whole record was written between myself and Johnny D and our producer Mike Crumpus. It was
Hmm.
a whole three-way split, a three-way project from the start, from when we started it like 3 years ago before COVID, and it took a long time, man. But it's a collaborative effort. Yeah.
And how do you guys record nowadays? Do you guys record more like, do you guys record together in the studio, or do you do a lot of back and forth changing files like the more modern way, I guess? A lot of.
Everything, everything, all of the above. This whole record has got a crazy story, but in a nutshell, it started in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, about 3.5 years ago, where Mike was living,
Mhm.
and Johnny and I took a trip down there and started writing, and it ended in England, 3 years later, mixing. But a lot of the times, the ideas were just the three of us sitting in the studio and writing the song, recording it right there, cutting the drum. Mike would cut a rough drum track, and
Right.
we'd be off to the races because with digital, a lot of people they write record now. They record the song as it's being written, and Mike's
Right.
the engineer and the producer, so it was really cool. We had everything going, all the tools right in the right place. Then later, I do a lot in my home studio. Yes, file
Mhm.
sharing, of course, especially with COVID coming in halfway
Sure.
through the album. I was doing all my tracks at home, and same with Johnny, sending stuff back and forth. Not my first choice, but it got it done. So
For sure. So where do you guys, I mean, you guys been at this for a while. I know you guys have been playing constantly. But where do you guys still find the inspiration to like still put out new music? I'm glad you do. It's great. Like, I mean, it's it's great to see guys like you still having, the motivation to make new music and put new stuff out there. Like, what is the motivation that you guys, because you guys have been at it for a long time.
the motivation is just being who we are. Nobody has to tell me to get up and write and play every day. I still do. It's an addiction. It never goes away. Johnny is 100% still into being a singer. We just love what we do, and we're having the time of our lives. We're coming back so much bigger and better now, like with the melodic rock genre kicking back in. Our touring has been amazing, and this album just is part of that. It just always inspired. I write every day, whether it's for
Right.
Honeymoon or other projects. I just never stop, and so here we are. And Johnny and I still passionate about it, and the rest of the guys, we don't question it. I don't know why we do. We just do it, and here we are.
No, it's great to see that you're still active and still doing what you do. And I still keep praying you come out to the Maritimes one day and do a big show for us. But I mean, the last time I would have seen you guys was in Oakville, I guess a few years back with the Kerr Street Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Kim Mitchell was on the bill with you guys that night too. But I mean, you guys haven't lost it live at all. Like
No,
it's
man. No, it never goes away. We got the original guys. We're just in a real renaissance period now. I don't know. We're just playing and gigging, and just feels great. And there's no there's no plan to stop. We'll stop when it's not fun or doesn't make sense anymore. But right now, it's great.
If you don't mind, can I go back to where you first started playing music? Like how far? Like,
Yeah, man, because that's all part of all of that is where we are now. It's a whole journey that we're still on, of course. Proud of the history.
like what, how old were you, and what was it that made you decide I got to play the guitar?
Oh, probably I was 11 years old. So I started as a little kid on piano. I was made to take piano lessons,
Right.
but I'm glad I did because I learned to read music. And when I got, into adolescence, I heard "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple, and to me that was after I heard that I wanted to play guitar. So I think Richie Blackmore was my first big inspiration.
Right.
Carlos Santana, a bit of Hendrix. That made me want to pick up the guitar big time.
And when did you start forming band? Like, I obviously I wouldn't think Honeymoon Suite is your only band. I'm sure
Mhm.
you started some bands back when you were in high school and stuff like that. When would
Oh
you have?
yeah, yeah. As soon as I could, I started finding some guys at high school and jamming and getting little local bands together, writing songs. Like, I was in a local band that, we put our first record out when I was 16,
Right.
because I wanted to be in a band and you know, write songs and record, I'd see the local bands a little bit older than me go out there and play, and I thought they were rock stars, to me. Remember that I grew up in St. Catharines, Ontario, where Neil
Hmm.
Peart came from. He was a few years older, and he was playing around local bands at the time, and then he got this gig with this new band called Rush from Toronto. So
Yeah.
that was pretty inspirational, seeing that whole thing come out, and Max Webster, Triumph, all these
Hmm.
bands would play down in the clubs where I grew up, and I'd sneak in at 16 or 17 to see them. So I was in a very rich environment, and it really inspired me.
What was the earliest inclination of Honeymoon Suite?
Um, Johnny D started the band, I think, in 1982 or 83. He had left his band from the Falls called Lennox,
Hmm.
where he was a rhythm guitar player, but he wanted to be a singer. Thank God he did, because man's got pipes. So he moved up to Toronto and started Honeymoon Suite maybe 6 months before I'd met him. We were both living in Toronto, just trying to, you know, find a gig and make a living. And I called our agent and I said to him, man, I was with this other band. Do you know any bands looking for a guitar player? And this agent was working with Johnny D with the first inclination of Honeymoon Suite. So he hooked us up. And Johnny and I met, I played him some songs and we jammed, and that was it. We decided, we needed to work together. So that was the first inclination. There was a different drummer,
Hmm.
different bass player, keyboard player. But after I joined, it's like the light bulb went off. I had some songs and I finally found a great lead singer. So I said, this is it. I want to try and make this one work. And we put the rest of the band together.
Awesome. And I guess I remember you guys had won the homegrown contest at Q107. Was that how you really got your big
Yeah,
break, or?
yeah. Okay, so I met Johnny, and then we got Dave in the band, and Ray Coburn,
Hmm.
and Gary Lalonde. Eventually, we kind of put it together really quickly. We started playing six nighters. We were a cover band, a bar band for like a year or year and a half, just slogging it out there, getting our shit together, and being a band. And the Q107 thing came around, every year. So at that point, I had New Girl Now and Face to Face and Funny Business, who we were all playing in the show, and we went in and cut those, demoed them at Tom Tremuth's place. He was the producer on our first record.
Okay. Yeah.
So we did the first demo of New Girl Now and sent that into Q, and we won that year. So that started a lot of things.
It got you didn't it get you some more recording time and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
well, it won the Q107, so they started playing the shit out of it on Q, and our manager was, calling all the labels, trying to get the deal. This is back when a band could get a record deal,
Yeah.
and you sold albums, and it was a great time. So A&R guys started to come out to the shows and stuff, and WIA came out and decided to sign us. So that's kind of how we got our deal.
Yeah, because that was a strong debut album. Let's see if
Yeah,
I remember it very well.
yeah.
Uh,
It
Not too many albums have a spiked
oh man, it just
heart-shaped bed on
everything.
the cover.
Yeah, once things started rolling, once we got the deal with WIA, it was like, okay, Derry, what do you got New Girl now and Face to Face? What else you got? So I had to come up with, like Stay in the Light and Burning in Love. It was just, I was writing like crazy, and just all the timing of it. We went in and cut the record, and I had all these songs, and they all came to life. And man, it just uh, it just came together really quickly, because that you can hear that energy on the album, and it was a great time.
I always liked the song you did, Turn My Head. It was a flip side of one of the singles that I
Yeah,
remember buying back in those days. I think it was the flip side of either New Girl Now or might
yeah,
have been,
that's right. It was an
yeah,
album track. It's just everything. The songs came together, and the band and the sound, and we made a great first record really quickly, and it
yeah.
just went through the roof. Very lucky.
Yeah, every song on that was solid. Like it was like it wasn't just a sing. I mean, the singles were fantastic. Like I mean, Stay in the Light, Wave Babies. Like I mean, but the whole album was just so solid from front to finish. Like I think
Yeah,
any song on there you probably could have made a single or made a video for.
yeah, we had four like hit singles off the record, but the timing was so perfect. 1983, 84, Much Music was exploding.
Yeah,
MTV, it was the video age, and our timing couldn't have been better. We started cutting videos, you know, Johnny D, good looking Italian lead singer guy. Just, things just were, the timing was good.
yeah. Much Music was doing a lot to promote any Canadian band. I think back in the day too. Like I mean, if you were Canadian, they were playing it.
Video
So
was the thing, man. It just, we went through the roof.
and you
Uh,
got some pretty good opening slots on with some other bands. Like I recall you opening for Triumph on one of their tours.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when it happens, man, it happens fast. We had a major label pumping big money into it, and next thing you know, we had a gold record, and then we had a platinum record, then a double platinum record, then you know floodgates were open. So the touring, all of a sudden, we weren't the Honeymoon Suite bar band playing Billy Idol songs. We were like an original Honeymoon Suite band with this big hit New Girl Now on the radio. So we're opening for April Wine and Triumph and all that in Canada. And then don't forget, our record was released on Warner's in the US. So we were playing six nighters in Kapuskasing, at one point. 6 months later, we're on a tour bus opening for Jethro Tull, going across America playing arenas.
That's got to be exciting for, just coming out with your first record to be able
Oh
to do
yeah, a
stuff
bunch of
like that.
young guys having a great time. Yeah, it's fun.
What kind of success did you guys have in the States? Because I don't really know. Like I knew you had the Lethal Weapon song, was on the soundtrack to the movie, but I never did really find out like how much success you had in the US in terms of like
We had
sales or
we had a great first and second albums, did amazing. The first one like broke us in the States. The New Girl Now was all over MTV, and then the second album, Big Prize, sold hundreds of thousands, and we got on these huge tours, Heart, ZZ Top, blah blah blah, and we did probably more touring in the States than we did in Canada
yeah.
around 86, 87, 85, all of that. So we were all over the place. Um, no, the US was very good.
And then you didn't lose any traction with the second album, The Big Prize, of course.
It just went that much further. Yes, the first record came out and kind of laid the foundation, then the Big Prize
Yeah,
took
and
it
it
that much farther.
I was always amazed that you never forgot where you came from because there's Niagara Falls on the front cover of the album. So,
Yeah, I know. Pretty funny.
and you shot videos in Niagara Falls too. I remember.
Yeah, we did the Burning in Love video was done in the falls. Yeah, we always played that angle up a little bit, but not too much.
No, but it was great that you never forgot that. That was kind of neat too. But who produced the big prize? It was you had a pretty well-known producer on that one, didn't you?
Bruce Fairburn,
Yeah, that's right too.
you
Did
know,
you went
and Bob
didn't
Rock. Bob Rock was the engineer.
right?
Him and I
Oh,
worked, did all the guitars together. Bob Rock hadn't yet become a rock star producer. He was just on the, he's just about to, you know.
did
With,
you record that in Vancouver?
yeah, for the most part, we did most of it in Vancouver with Bob and Bruce.
Because I've been studying a lot of the famous studios in Canada. I've been kind of reading up a lot about. I was reading about what do you call it, Little Mountain Sound out in Vancouver. Um, I've really been fascinated with Morin Heights in Quebec, where Rush recorded all their big albums
Uh-huh,
and April Wine
uh-huh.
did, and I would put Metalworks in there as well. I guess you guys probably did some recording there as well.
We were all three. Big Prize was done mostly in Little Mountain, Vancouver. We did Monsters Under the Bed and Morin Heights.
Right.
And of course, Metalworks. Oh man, I can't tell you. We've been in and out of Metalworks over the years doing songs and overdubs and stuff. Yes, been there, done that. Great places, great studios.
I consider those three legendary studios in the
Yeah,
Canadian music. Well, not just the Canadian music business. I mean, everybody was recording
they
at Little
sure
Mountain.
are.
At Little
Hell
Mountain,
yeah,
I who everybody recorded at Little Mountain in the late '80s, I think.
of course.
Not just Canadian bands, but American bands were recording
Iconic,
there.
iconic. We were cutting the getting beds for the Big Prize there, and who's in the next studio over is David Coverdale with Whitesnake
Yeah,
recording the big Whitesnake album in the still of the night.
yeah.
We could hear we could hear him cutting the beds for that. So it doesn't get any cooler than that.
And then your third album comes out, and you worked with, I guess that'd probably be one of the biggest producers is Ted Templeman.
That's yeah. Yeah, I
Like, I
can't
mean,
complain, man. Got to work with some amazing people. For me, yeah, Ted, of course, Van Halen, Montrose, Doobies, of course, and recording in LA. It's been a great ride, man.
yeah. Oh, just and I've never been happier to see a Canadian band do what you guys did. And the Junos you were winning too. I think you won Group of the Year when the
We
big
won
prize was
one
out.
Juno Group of the Year.
One Juno, that's all you ever won was one
Yeah,
Juno.
yeah, you would think, but
Hmm.
winning a Juno isn't, really. It's great. It's nice to get, but there's been a lot of bands that have won Junos that have just disappeared after that. An award is really nice, but it's what it's what you do after. It's your career, your sustainability, and we've stood the test of time.
You really have. And like I said, your songwriting hasn't deteriorated at all. Um, I've I really like to play this angle with a lot of the bands and artists that I've interviewed is that, they're still making great music today and probably writing is stronger today than it was back in the day.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
thank you.
find like Barney Bentall is a good example. I'm a big fan of his, and his last album that came out is just better than anything he's ever done. He's
Yeah.
still a great songwriter, he's still a great performer, and you guys are doing that too.
Well,
You
that's
probably
what we
remember
do. That's what I do.
you probably remember the Jitters.
Of course, I know the Jitters. Our keyboard player Peter Nunn used to be with the Jitters.
Well, Blair is still writing great music today.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the thing I wish more people would get turned on to that. Like, I mean, yeah, they have their great classic hits and stuff like that, but their new stuff is even better. And give
Yeah.
it a chance. I think you'd really get into it. Anyway, I'm gonna put up the cover of the new album because I'm really excited about it. If I could find it, there it is. What an awesome record! Like it's just I've been listening to it for the past week. Um, I want to get a physical copy of it because I'm an old-fashioned person and I like reading the credits, I guess.
Of
Um,
course, man. I'm a vinyl junkie. I mean, I've gotten back. Thank God, vinyl's back. I have a turntable, and I love putting my records on. It's different. They do sound better. And yeah, I grew up. I'm old enough that I grew up. I bought LPs, and there's something about the size of it. Pull out the jacket, read the credits, the photos. there's no experience. So you don't get that from a CD or a cassette. So glad vinyl is back.
No, you definitely don't. Like you said, that's the best part. You read about who played on it, who produced it, all the lyrics
Well,
even.
Alive, this new album, we do have vinyl with Alive. It's on CD, and of course you can download it. It's not the same when you download it. I mean, you can hear it. It's
Yeah.
nice to have that physical thing in your hand.
Yeah, I paid for a download, but I will definitely get a physical copy of the
Sure.
records somewhere down the road for sure.
Yeah.
Because that is the fun part of it. I also got to mention, I was really hoping your daughter was going to win American Idol. I was really rooting for her. I was like, oh,
Yeah, me too.
she made
Yeah,
the top five. She's got to win it.
well, thank you. Yeah, hey, top three. She went right
Oh
to
yeah,
the
top
end.
three. Yeah,
Top three. Yeah, doesn't get any better than that. So that was such a fantastic ride. And we're living. She's living in Nashville now. We have a place. I have a place. My wife and I have a place with her in Nashville. We also live in Illinois, but I'm in Nashville now. And
yeah.
Lee and I have we kind of hang out here and do our music. We have a house, and it's really good. Anyways, yeah, thank you. She's working on her career. Was a wonderful boost for her.
I thought she was a real breath of fresh air for that show. I thought, she was different. She was doing things the way she wanted to, and I was like, I really hope she wins it. But she came really close, so
Oh yeah, but once Idol is done, it's like you got to go back to reality, and
yeah.
it's back to work, man. It's not easy, and she's working on it and doing really well.
No, I don't want to take away from your new stuff because I love it. But one question I always like to ask a band like you guys that have been around for a while, is there anything in the vault that might see the light of day?
There's always songs in the vault. You mean older things that have?
Well, like old recordings or live shows you recorded that might see the light of day one day, or
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been together what, almost 40 years. Of course, I mean, I've got tons of things. I've got tons of songs sitting on the computer. And I go back. I'm actually starting to write now for. I was talking with Johnny yesterday. We're going to go in and start writing for the next album
oh,
already
wow, oh, I
because
can't
I
wait.
never stop. I never stop. So I've got things ready, to start working on because I'm very impatient and I want to keep moving ahead. And there's old ideas, I've got stuff that's probably 5, maybe 10 years old. I go back because there's things I've forgotten about. And I'll listen to it and I go, damn, it's a kick-ass riff, man.
Yeah.
Now that I hear it so many years later, I can do something with that. So when you're a songwriter, you're kind of navigating all of that, the new stuff, but you can't forget your old ideas because I've written so many things I can't even remember. So I go back through my voice memos and I find some gems.
And I'm also quite amazed, and I think everyone should be, that you're still pretty close to the original band.
Oh yeah, it's
Like,
that's one of the most fun things right now about touring. It's all original except for Peter on keyboards.
right.
But Peter's been in the band longer than Ray or Rob.
Yeah.
He's fantastic, and Dave and Gary and Johnny. So it is the original band for all intents and purposes. And that's one of the most. I wake up every day and I'm happy that it's those guys because I look forward to seeing them when we go out and tour. And we've had other guys in the past, when Dave and Gary weren't there. It was
Right.
okay. It wasn't the same. It didn't sound the same. So that's another thing that makes me really happy.
That they came back and you're still playing with them after all these years.
Yeah, but they've been back for, 15 years, to like a long time. So it's good. I hope it keeps going.
Speaking of tour, what are the plans for playing shows? You got a bunch, have you got a lot booked for the summer or?
Yes, it's what just into April now. The summer is being booked. That's the cycle. So the festivals stuff is coming in every day, more stuff. Um, we're going out on the road this summer, and we've got this new record. We might play one or two of the songs from it. It's going to be a bigger, better show this year than it was last year. So we get out, we just play as much as we can. Um, what are we doing? There's going to be in next November,
Hmm.
there's going to be a cross Canada tour. We're going to go
Right.
all over the country this summer, from Newfoundland to Vancouver and everywhere in between. We're going to do all the festivals and stuff. We're going to do some shows in the US, but there's going to be a longer tour next November, in the middle of November, and it's going to go right across the country. And it's going to be a honeymoon suite. I think we're with Men Without Hats,
Oh wow.
and I think the Spoons are on it. It's like a four band tour, and it's going to be really great.
Oh, it's just those bands you mentioned. Like, how can you go wrong with a lineup like
Yeah,
that?
well,
Like,
it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a whole tour, which will be fun.
oh, it should be amazing. I hope you make it out here to PEI. We'd love to see a show like that here.
Mhm.
Um, because we don't get too much to get excited about here in PEI, except for the potatoes.
Yeah, the potatoes and Haywire.
And
Haywire.
Haywire, yeah, who I'm sure you played with quite a bit
Oh, I
over the
love those
years.
guys, man. Martin and I were just great friends from way back in the day. Such a great player, guitar player. And we hadn't been to PEI in a long time, and we'd love to come back.
They're still together too, so they still
That's
play
right.
live quite a bit.
Yeah, they played with us in the last little while. We've done some shows with them. Good to
Great.
see you. Yeah.
Another guy I interviewed that you probably know well. I interviewed Stevie Screeves from Brighton Rock,
Yeah, the Brighton
who
Rock Boys, for sure.
he said they knew you guys pretty well back in the day when
Oh,
it's
yeah. Well, we were on the same label, same management for a while, and yeah, a lot of history there.
awesome. Man, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join me in my little Facebook group and the YouTube channel. It means the world to me because I'm just such a big fan of Canadian music. And like I said, you guys are what I had in mind when I started this. Because when
Right.
when we talk Canadian bands, you guys are probably one of the first names off the list.
Cool.
When I start talking Canadian music, because
Well,
you guys did us proud back in the '80s and still are.
yeah, man.
Um,
Well, thank you.
and
Thank you.
have a good summer with your shows and stuff like that. And I hope the album does really well. I'll talk about it with everybody I know. Um,
Yeah, it's called Alive. Just tell your listening, man. Check it out. Go on Spotify, listen to it. Some great songs on there.
awesome.
Johnny D singing his ass off, and yeah, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's pretty slick.
No, it's I've been listening to it for the past week and it's just fantastic. It just
Thank you.
you guys definitely haven't lost your chops, and I can't wait to hear some of it live if you get out this way, or
Mhm.
maybe I'll get out to Ontario and see you guys somewhere out there. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, thanks for joining me, Derry. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Good
All right,
talking.
take care. Yep.